Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is May 28, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 101 of me answering your immigration related questions. As you can see, I have all your comments pulled up in front of me. As always, before starting this video, I'm going to mention I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question comment from Denise to 4. As you can see, Denise is one of the top commenters. Denise, thank you very much. I appreciate you watching all the videos and all your questions. I really appreciate. So Denise says today, "Hi sir, how is the immigration reducing the backlog on immigrant visas now? Any additional explanation?" Denise, unfortunately there isn't anything much that I can give you. You're probably familiar because you have been subscribed to this channel for a while. Once a month, Department of State, the representative from the Department of State, they meet with Immigration Attorney Association or whatever it is called. And basically this representative from that Immigration Attorney Association that represents supposedly our interests, right, the interests of immigrants, asks questions from the representative of the Department of State. And unfortunately, when you look at those transcripts of those questions, whenever it comes to the visa backlog, specifically whenever it comes to family categories, family reunification, there isn't really much whenever it comes to questions, and there isn't really much whenever it comes to answers. They just refer to the visa bulletin. They say, hey, visa bulletin, backlog, whatever. So there isn't really much that is happening in order to reduce the backlog, but we know for a fact that the backlog keeps accumulating. And the reason why it is accumulating is the reason why we have this backlog in the first place. Because if it was working positively, it would have been reducing. There would never be a backlog, right? We would have a backlog maybe during situations like, for example, what we had during the pandemic when there were no immigrant visas issued at all. We would have a little bit of a backlog, and then once everything opens back up, that backlog reduces and disappears. Unfortunately, that's not the case because there is still a limited amount of immigrant visas that is available each year, and each year there is more family reunification petitions that are coming in. So the backlog keeps on growing, unfortunately. And that's why you see, for example, between June 2023 and May 2023, there was not a single change in any of the categories. And stuff like this happens because instead of reducing the backlog, it accumulates. Will there ever be done anything? I don't know. I would really hope so, because you all know who subscribe to this channel watching these videos. I am an immigrant myself, and I do have, I had a few petitions, and I will have more petitions, and I have currently one petition that I'm waiting on for my brother, and it's going to be another 13 years. And it's going to be longer than 13 years. Why? Because in 13 years, I know for a fact that if things stay the same, the backlog will only grow. So, sorry, Denise, unfortunately I don't have good news whenever it comes to this. I really hope there will be something, but as of right now, there isn't anything that indicates that this backlog will be reducing. It's only just, waiting, getting the rough estimates, and estimating it to be longer than expected, unfortunately. But I don't want to be one of those channels that gives false hope and lies to subscribers in order to get more views and stuff like this. I want to be realistic, I want to be reasonable, and I want to help people understand what kind of problems we're dealing with, and some situations, some avenues to resolve those problems. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Sorry, we started a little bit on a sad kind of a note. To Ben Solomon, where do I send my completed I-485 form along with my I-912? I need a mailing address, thank you. Ben Solomon, you're very welcome. Thank you for your question. So I-912 is the fee waiver, and you send it together with the application. So Ben Solomon is filing the I-485. and the fee waiver together in one application to the address where I-485 is supposed to be going. So let's go. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to demonstrate some navigation on the USCIS.gov, which is the official government website for U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. This is what the front page looks like. You can find this link in the description below. We're going to click on Forms right here at the very top of the navigation menu, Forms. And then you will see all forms, the very first link. And then you will see all the forms. You can scroll down and find I-485. It's all alphabetic numerical order, or we can just type it in here, 485, boom. And there we go, application to register permanent residence or adjust status. So we're gonna click on this, and this will be the page. Each of the petitions, each of the applications has their own dedicated page where you can find the form itself, you can find the instructions in PDF, you can check the edition date, filing fee, checklist of required documents. But what we need for this question is where to file. So we're gonna click on this, and here, instead of showing the addresses, you see, because it's a big application. It's not a small application because there's a lot of different people in a lot of different categories from a lot of different immigration passages. Let's just say that they can file this form I-485, and depending on through which passage you're filing for the adjustment of status will depend on where you send. So we're going to click on this direct filing addresses for form I-485 link right here. I'm going to click on this, and you will see a drop down for most common reasons for filing form I-485, you non-immigrants, violence against women, it's a VAWA program, special employment-based categories, asylum, refugee, and Haitian Refugee Immigration Fairness Act, filing for form I-485 with form I-140, I-485 with or based on form I-526 or form I-526E, certain Afghani and Iraqi nationals, and individuals currently in exclusion, deportation, or removal proceedings. So, Ben Solomon, depending on which status you're applying on, you can find it there, but I will assume that you are filing for most common reasons, which is one of the most common reasons I would say would be the form I-130, which is the petition for alien relative, which is what is discussed the most on this particular channel. We're dealing more with family immigration categories. So you will see it here, and you'll scroll down a little bit, and you will see a link, go to USCIS lockbox filing locations chart for certain family-based forms. We're going to click on this, and you will see all the addresses, and depending on which state you are in, for example, let's see, Texas has their own, and then there are these states right here. So let's say if you live in Florida, for example, let's find Florida. Obviously not this one. Let's see, Florida is not in the second one. Alabama, Arkansas, nope, it's not here either. There we go, Florida. So if you live in Florida, that's where you will be filing. If you want to send it through a private courier like FedEx, UPS, or DHL, that's the address you will be sending it to. If you're sending it with U.S. Postal Service, USPS, which is what I would recommend sending it with, then you're sending it to the PO box of USCIS here at this address right there. So again, double check, based on which immigration avenue you're filing your form I-485, and then you will be able to find the address on this page right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna type in link so that you have this link already, and I'm gonna paste it in my comment so that you can just click on it and you don't have to search for it. You will be able to find it. Alrighty, let's move on to the next comment question from Adejumo Harijat. Thank you for your time. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching. Sorry, I still didn't get to understand why the California Service Center is presently on June 2016. Why my brother filed for me on September 2011. Are they jumping for some reason? And I'm in Nigeria. Thank you so much. Okay, Adejumo, so the reason why you are seeing the processing times for USCIS shorter than what you are waiting for is because USCIS is just the first stage of that I-130 petition. You file the petition, you start the process of family reunification with USCIS, but the processing times that are shown on the USCIS website, they are just for the USCIS part of the processing. Once USCIS processes the application, they approve the petition, they transfer it to the NVC, and now it's a whole new, basically, it's still part of the family reunification case, but now you're dealing with the NVC, National Visa Center, that is part of the Department of State. And there you are doing the, you're going through the process of becoming documentarily qualified. Once you're documentarily qualified, you're waiting for the availability of the immigrant visa. Once it is available, your immigrant visa interview is scheduled, and then you go to the US Embassy in order to get that immigrant visa. So you see there's a lot of steps that is involved, and USCIS is just the first step of it. A very important one, but just the first step. So the processing times that you're looking at on USCIS website, they are just for that beginning, the initial phase of that I-130 petition, the family reunification case. So if you want to see the full picture of how long approximately it takes, then you're not looking at the USCIS website, you are looking at the visa bulletin. That's where you're looking at, and these graphs right here, they will show you this final action date graph. This is the full picture, basically after you were already documentarily qualified and when the immigrant visa becomes available. You can find the answers right here. So if it's, you say it's your brother that has filed for you, so that would be F4 category, and for F4 category, it is right now the priority dates from April 2007 in all chargeability, that are getting their immigrant visas available. So yes, USCIS will process if they're showing presently 2016 in California. So that means it takes about, let's see, 2016. Right now it's 2023. It's about 7 years, right? So USCIS takes about 7 years to approve your I-130 petition. But then you are dealing still with the backlog of the immigrant visa, and while you're becoming documentarily qualified with NVC, so far so forth, you are dealing with the visa bulletin. So it's very important to understand the visa bulletin and how to make the rough estimates. It's very helpful. That's why every month when the new visa bulletin comes up, this is for June 2023, the next one is going to be July 2023, I make a dedicated video discussing the new dates, comparing it to the old ones, and see if there was movement or if there was not movement. As I mentioned earlier in this video, there was absolutely no movement between May and June 2023, which is not good news. Absolutely not good news, because we do want to see at least 1 month's movement each month to make sure that it is moving along. When we don't see it, it means the backlog is growing, and it's not very good. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe, because like I said, every month, once the new visa bulletin comes up, I do make those videos discussing the dates. All right, let's move on to the next question from Tashauni Harrison. Hi, would you have any hope in getting through for 2023, being in the F2B, all chargeability area, documentarily qualified since March of 2021, and my priority date is October 2015 from Jamaica. Please and thank you. Tashani, thank you very much for your question. Congratulations on becoming documentarily qualified. Huge milestone. Huge milestone. So it means everything is good. The sponsor is good. It's great. The only thing now, you're waiting for the availability of the immigrant visa. Then once you get the interview scheduled, you're just doing the medical examination, going to the interview, getting your immigrant visa, done. Coming to the United States, and this visa converts to the temporary permanent resident card. So it's good news. But let's take a look at the visa bulletin and see how long approximately more we can estimate for you to wait for the availability of the immigrant visa. So we know the priority date is October 2015, and you are already documentarily qualified. So we are looking at the graph A, which is the final action date, which means that the final action on the case was already taken. And final action is referring to becoming documentarily qualified. So if we look at the F2B, it tells us September 2015. So September 2015 is the priority date that as of right now, as of June 2023, people with priority date back in September 2015, their immigrant visa is becoming available just now. So your priority date is October 2015. Wow! So you're October 2015, and right now it is September 2015. So you are literally like 1 month away. You see why it is rough estimate even when it's 1 month away, because from May to June it did not move at all. But you are literally, by what the visa bulletin is giving us, you're just 1 month away. So I'm thinking for sure by the end of the 2023, for sure, I would say within the next couple of months, you will have, your immigrant visa is going to be available. And then it also, of course, depends on how busy the embassy in Jamaica is, because, depending on where the U.S. embassy is, in which country, some of them are busier, some of them are not, some of them they schedule the immigrant visa interviews a little bit more often than the others. So you might have to wait a little bit for them to schedule the interview. But the availability of your immigrant visa, you're looking at 1 more month. So I would say in the next couple months, few months max, you will definitely have your immigrant visa will become available, your priority date will become current, and then you will have your interview scheduled. So Tashani, please, I'm going to ask you, once your interview is scheduled, please come back to this channel and let us know that it was scheduled, because it's nice to read the comments and people waiting and finding out approximately how long it takes, but it's also very reassuring and refreshing to see people finally getting their interview scheduled, finally getting their immigrant visas. So the resolution, because at least you see, okay, it's moving along, people are getting their immigrant visas, it's not just a bunch of us waiting and waiting and waiting. All right, let's move on to the next question from Rashi Verma. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. Thanks for the video. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching. I want to ask about money order. We need to prepare money order separately or combined. For example, I am J1 and my husband or on J2. So we need to make money order of 540, so initial application for the I-539 initial application fee, or 370, which is the initial application plus 85. I'm sorry, not the 540, the 370, the 85, the biometric fee plus 85, another second biometric fee. Kindly respond as soon as possible. Thanks in advance. So yes, you can definitely combine all of the fees together. I would recommend, in the money order, I don't think you can do it. It's just a whole thing, which is fine. But if you're doing the personal check, what you can do is in the memo, you can just type in the, you can either write 370 plus 85 plus 85, or you can type application fee I-539 plus biometrics fee for 2. You can do that. If it's possible to do, put a note in the money order, you can definitely do that as well. But there is absolutely no problem sending the check or the money order with the fees combined. But great question. Thank you for bringing this up. Alrighty, let's move on to the next one. Butter is good. I would not sure if I would agree with that, but on part 2, question 4, requested non-immigrant or immigrants classification. Okay, so that was a question so that was on the appeal for green card denial. I'm sorry you have to deal with this, with the denial. It's not very pleasant. But on part 2, question 4, requested non-immigrant or immigrant classification, if my wife is on advance parole, what should I put in that box? The denial letter was sent to us by AOS. Is that what I put in there? I appreciate your feedback on this. Okay, thank you very much. That's a great question. So on that particular part, question 4, requested non-immigrant or classification status, they are asking for what you are applying and you have been denied. So what you requested and what you have been denied. So if you're applying for a green card, you're applying, this is a form I-485. So that's what you're putting. You're requesting the adjustment of status. And obviously you're probably requesting that adjustment of status based on the, whatever status your wife is applying on. Probably might be the family reunification, maybe employment based, whatever it is, but for you it is the adjustment of status that you are requesting that was denied, and now you're filing the appeal appeal for their decision. So that's what you're going to be putting in there. The adjustment of status, the I-485, or you can put I-485 adjustment of status. Doesn't really matter. One thing though I would recommend before you are submitting that appeal, read through very carefully on the letter, the denial letter, because in the denial letter they sometimes give you better options than the appeal, where you don't need to actually appeal, but you can send them a motion, basically just a statement, just a letter asking them to reconsider, basically reopen the case and reconsider it. And usually they do that if the reason for the denial is something very, very simple, like some piece of evidence was missing, or there was some kind of small mistake, and it can be easily corrected. So you can say, hey, here's the evidence that you requested that was missing with the letter. But that's just my personal recommendation, just to be, just to make the process easier, because you don't want to start, and it goes really for everyone who is watching this video. If you are dealing with a denial, don't jump into the most aggressive action, which would be the appeal. See if there are any other avenues which can make the process faster and smoother, like reopening the case, if it's something very basic. And on that denial letter, they always tell you what options you have. Alrighty, so let me put this, and we're gonna move on to the next. Actually, before I forget, I'm gonna put this as well here. We're gonna move on to the next question from Jeffrey Hollandsworth. I know someone whose wife withheld information about being married to an American. I know someone whose wife withheld information about being married to an American and did not register in home country, and he did not register in USA. They married in Caribbean. She arrived in USA and received a green card through marriage. What are his legal rights? Oh, I see. I know someone's wife withheld information about being married, and then she married an American in Caribbean, and she received a green card through marriage. What are his legal rights? She never got a divorce. Isn't this a fraud? Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. Unless Caribbean supports the polygamy, that's definitely a fraud. But I mean, it's fraud regardless, because she should have told it to her existing husband, unless he already knew, which doesn't sound like he did. This is fraud and polygamy. Yeah, absolutely. Can she be deported? And he be relieved of all responsibility of the 864? Yes, absolutely. So in this video that you are commenting on, in this video I'm showing there is a information that where you can report such fraud. Honestly, I'm not the type of person that is vindictive or anything like this, and yeah, I'm gonna be aggressive and I'm gonna hurt them in return, do something like this. So you're not doing it to kind of be vindictive, but you definitely do want to free yourself from this marriage. That person definitely does need to free themselves from that marriage, and also from the responsibility of being a sponsor, for sure. And yes, once you report it, the whole family reunification, the whole case becomes void, and the green card is revoked, and the obligation of being a sponsor is obviously annulled. So just make sure it is reported. It is made known, again, not to be vindictive or anything like this. It is, of course, sad that people do things like this and take advantage of other people, especially through marriage, because marriage is such a personal and special, and marriage is in front of God. When you say that, yes, I'm gonna be with this person for the rest of my life, you're giving the promise, not in front of people, not in front of the government, not in front of any of that. You're giving the promise in front of God. You are giving yourself to that person, and you're taking that person. So now you are one, right? You're one in front of God. And when people use this for such a minuscule, such a bureaucratic, pathetic reasons as just getting some kind of paper, and they put that paper above this promise, it's really sad, because it shows how degraded we have become as a society. As a society that we call morally, whatever, civilization, technological progress. We should be advancing. Instead, we are degrading because we are moving away further from these moral values, again, that come from God. And if you treat things like this way, and you're okay with lying to a person, lying to this guy right here who is in America, and obviously lying to a guy who is in the Caribbean or wherever he is, that is really sad. So yes, make sure this is reported. I mean, you can find this report fraud here on I'm gonna find it actually, and I'm gonna put it, there you go, report fraud, the very first thing. So let's see, avoid privacy notice, H1B, EB, USCIS employees avoid scams, other agencies report fraud and abuse, Department of Local State Authorities, so none of this, avoid scam. Let's see if we can do, you can find the answer to some, get suspicious. So I'm not gonna waste my time right now trying to find this right here. There you go. Have you witnessed an immigration scam? You can file a complaint online, or you can Federal Trade Commission. No, we don't want a Federal Trade Commission, that's for sure. Let's see, report immigration fraud and abuse. Nope, that's the same page. Let me make sure that I find the correct phone number, correct information, and I'm gonna add actually to my comment here, so that you can just click on it. I'm gonna type in link for now and leave it without link, and then I'll update my comment once I'm done with this video so that you have a direct link. And I'm sorry this happened to, you know, whoever the person is, because it is really sad. It's really sad. It's not supposed to be this way. But again, because the system is set up this way, and because we often take advantage of the system and are willing to give up our moral values, our righteousness, things like this happen. Okay, let's move on to probably very last comment for today from Fahri Salik or Chilik. I'm very sorry for mispronouncing the name. Hi, please, I need help about my interview affidavit support. Okay, when I filed my taxes for 2021, I showed I made $38,000. So how much I have to show for 2022 for 2 kids and wife? And also they send me a note, consular officer is going to make a decision about your sponsorship. Okay, what's that mean? And also says documentarily qualified, so I need help, please. Okay, so Fahri, I'm having a little bit of a confusion from your comment. Are you already documentarily qualified, or does it say that in order to become documentarily qualified, you have to submit all these documents and decision about your sponsorship will be made? So that's part of, you know, going through the process within the NVC portal. So I'm assuming you're not documentarily qualified, and I'll base my answer on that assumption. And also, I have to take with me my 2022 tax return with me, and how much must I need to show for 2022. Okay, so now let's take a look at the HHS priority guidelines. That's where you can find the information exactly on how much money you need to show in order to successfully petition for your family member. So we're going to go to USCIS.gov. I'm going to open another one, and we're going to type in HHS priority guidelines for 2023. There you go, in the search not the button, but the search field right here at the very top. So the very first link, 2023 HHS Party Guidelines for Affidavit of Support. That's what you need. I'll copy the link and I'll post it in my comment. And if you're in Alaska or Hawaii, there's a separate. But for all the other 48 states, drop down right here. So you said it is you in the household, you, your wife, and 2 kids. So that is 4 people in the household. So in order to petition for either one or both kids and a wife, you will be showing enough income for 4 people. So for 4 people, we'll scroll down, sponsor household size 4. It is required to have $37,500. And you made, in 2021, $38,000. So you're good, definitely good for 2021. And I'm assuming as long as you are somewhere around there on 2022, around 38,000, as long as it is over 37,500, you are definitely going to be good. There shouldn't be any problems with you sponsoring your wife and your 2 children. Now, you do have to take with you your 2022 tax return and also tax transcripts for the interview whenever you get to that. But first, obviously, it sounds like you still do need to get documentarily qualified with the NVC, which is what this consular officer making a decision is referring to, unless you are already documentarily qualified with NVC and they are referring to the consular officer at the embassy who's going to be reviewing your tax returns. But the good news is that if you are already documentarily qualified, it means that they have already accepted your income and they have already qualified you as a sponsor, qualified the beneficiary, and all they need to do is just show the same documents during the interview. So definitely should be good to go. So thank you everyone for watching the video today. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. Just make sure don't ask these questions in response to my comment, in your comment, because YouTube does not send me those notifications. Make sure to submit a separate comment and I will be able to address it. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Always appreciate your time. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.